Okay, so I've practiced a little bit on this riff. I've gotten it up to 100 beats per minute. So now this is kind of what we got. Well, let's get you where you can see what I'm doing. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Do that again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So, I don't know if you noticed, but on both those passes, I made a couple mistakes that wasn't really clean. So, then what I do is I go back and I work out my trouble areas, my problem areas. So, in this example, one of my trouble areas is when I come off of this. When I get to this spot, I'm not hitting all 3 strings. So just to work on that, I'll do something like this. That wasn't good, but I'll slow it down. Or I might just do something like this. See, I'm getting a little slide there. That's okay when I'm moving my hand down to here. Okay? So that's what I mean though when I'm talking about mechanics, okay? So the whole lick is this. But there's probably a dozen different mechanics or physical moves that need to be mastered in that 8 beats of music, okay? So let me break those down one by one. Here's one mechanic. That's the slide up, not playing this note, and then getting the triplet, and then sliding down. So that's all. There's 3 or 4 mechanics right in that little move. Making sure I got a good grip on these 2 strings, the 2nd and 3rd string. When I make that slide down, that's part of the sound of that little riff right there. Okay, and then letting those notes ring out as I get this note here. Okay, so, well, I guess it's not essential that they ring out, but that's part of what you could do to enhance the sound. Yeah. So right there I just figured out, actually no, we need to take our finger off, this finger off, and we put that finger on to get ready to move down to here. Those are all little mechanics, finger mechanics of things have to move in a certain sequence in a certain order in order to execute this properly. Okay? And you want to work all this stuff out slowly. You know, give yourself a chance to think about what is actually happening here, okay? So one more time. Okay, so in those treble spots, then as I play through, I try to just pause for a second and sit on those treble spots. Okay, so here we go. There's a treble spot, I'm sitting on it. There's another treble spot. Now, my next treble spot is here, playing those 3 and getting my pinky on good here. And then doing this move, hitting all 4 strings. So I might sit here and do this for a couple minutes. The very last part of this little 2-measure break is this, where I'm playing these 3 strings. That, I pretty much got that down, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. What I need to spend time on is the transition from this, getting my pinky on cleanly and strumming all 4 strings, and then being able to move this shape, which is kind of a new chord shape for me with that pinky. I told you before I don't like doing these, so I'm forcing myself to do this. So I might just do something like this, or okay, over and over again, and then go back and try to put it all together again. Okay, so what we're doing here at this point is we're working on two different concepts at the same time. We want to work on the, occasionally playing the entire lick, and just, dealing with it's not played cleanly. I didn't play that. I played that maybe I would say 85% clean. So we want to continue playing, practicing the whole entire lick, so we keep the rhythmic flow of the phrasing of the notes fresh in our mind. Okay, but then we want to go back in and keep working on those treble spots. And so that's kind of that's where people usually bail out. At that point they say, this is just too hard for me, I don't want to work on this anymore, it's not worth the time and effort. And that's why there's so many guitar players out there that can kind of play a few things, but they're not really good at much. And I don't mean to come off kind of as a jerk when I say that, but that really is, teaching, that's what I hear. I wish I could play this, or I wish I could play that. Well, you guys, you can play those things. You just have to put in a concentrated effort and break things down, figure out what your trouble spots are, and work on those trouble spots. And then you have to be patient. Okay, playing guitar, it's not like playing a video game where you master a few fundamentals and then you're good to go. No, there's thousands of techniques on guitar. This little solo that I've been working on has probably at least a dozen different techniques, and then within each of those techniques is 2 or 3 little mechanics that has to be mastered. So 20 Measures of Music literally has dozens of mechanical moves that have to be mastered. And the only way to do that is just to dig in and dive in and just stick to it, stick to your guns. But guys, the thing is, the reward, the payoff is great, okay? Since I've been practicing this, I've done that about 100 times in the course of learning this. So at this point, muscle memory is pretty much taken over. So I got the first 6 measures. I don't even have to hardly think about them. Now the rest of it, it's not as fresh in my mind, but there's definitely certain things that, because I've spent the time to work on the mechanics, now the mechanics are kind of set into my muscle memory, and I really don't have to think about what I'm doing. I just do it. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but that's really how it works. You have to practice it in repetition, practice, practice, practice. Okay? And here's the thing. You perfect what you practice. Okay? So if you practice sloppy technique, then you're going to perfect sloppy technique. If you practice good technique, then you're going to perfect good technique. If you practice excellent technique, then you're going to perfect excellent technique. So you just have to decide, what do you want? That is not my job. I can't determine for you, what you're comfortable with. If you're comfortable with being a little sloppy and having a little sloppy technique, and that's still fun for you, that's cool with me. I'm not the judge of that, as long as you're happy playing guitar. But if you're not happy with sloppy technique, then this little video series I've done to kind of show you this is what it takes to get your technique to the point where you want it. Okay, these people that have been on the radio, that are musicians for a living, they've put this kind of time in, and this is why they are where they are. This is why they sound the way they sound. So just, you know, take that to heart and make of it what you will, but, you know, that is the truth of the matter. You only get out of this thing what you put into this thing. You only get out of these things what you put into these things. So I wish there was an easier solution, but there just isn't. So anyways, I'm gonna leave you with those thoughts. I know I got a little deep, a little hardcore on you, but you know, sometimes someone has to get in your face. You know, I was watching Ink Master, and the guy Oliver Peck, he was telling the contestants, you know, your guys' problem is